Hi, this is Annmaree Miller again. This is the Series 2 of Holistic Health for Living. So generally each area will be related to something to do that's common or not so common, but within our area of the West and perhaps common in the East as far as living goes. So the letter B today, B for biology. Now biology with the Western and the Eastern can vary. Even just the term biology, which is the study of life, also has a term in Eastern philosophy, which is also means literally the same thing, and that is the Ayurvedic principles, which is also the study of life. Ayurveda is life knowledge or study of life. And in the West, we have the biology, which is biology, life, and ology, which is the study of. So both mean the same, however, they differ in their specificity. Always have an issue with that word. So the fundamental core elements of each one both still mean the study of life. However, they can differ in their definitions. Within the Western biology, we have different areas of biology or the study of life, whether it's with psychology, as this particular schematic involves areas that have to do with our biological psychology, and psychology being the study of the brain, the mind, and the emotions. And then you've got the study or the biology of things like aging, which, this being a textbook I used in my master's degree, brilliant book. This is a Western concept book, and even in this book, it acknowledges things that similar in the Eastern philosophy that tell us that we as human beings or earthly beings can live till we are around 120 years old quite reasonably if we look after ourselves. Not something that's projected by the general medical system, as in the allopathic, which I spoke about in the last video for the letter A in this series. However, it is a feasible and possible expectation that one could live until they're around 120, as told in the specialists, which mention it again in this particular book. And then you've got other areas of biology like the biology of belief, which the microbiologist, micro meaning small and biology meaning the study of life, Bruce Lipton talks about that beautifully in that particular textbook, The Biology of Belief. And they're all associated with how life is affected within us on all different levels, particularly on levels that we don't necessarily see. So electromagnetic fields and the environment that we are putting ourselves in all affect our overall state of well-being. Just going back to Ayurvedic, so the Ayurvedic philosophy of life is whereby we have the realm of that which you perceive to be God or the universe, and then the movement and stillness that occurs after the presence is experienced within consciousness. And there you've got different breakdowns of the degrees of what they are, whether it's the elements of material elements that we have, and then right down to the characteristics that are within different organisms, including ourselves, such as purity and quick movement and inertia or stagnation. All of them occur within the biology of life itself. So biology, as far as our living goes, is the study of. Now, in this time, particularly the 3rd of the 8th, 2022, it's a very poignant time for understanding more about us as individuals. So there's been a large amount of shall we say, direction of influence towards the collectiveness of us as human beings and how we affect each other, and etc., etc. However, at the end of the day, we all are like little lights, and we all come together on our own accord. How we are, as far as adults go, pretty much depends on how we treat ourselves. So the utilization of knowing how to look after yourself and optimize your well-being as much as you can is going to influence that. Now, something that I've already mentioned, the term microbiology. So microbiology, this is a textbook I've used in my science training, my medical science training, as well as my health science training, so both nursing and natural therapy. And I just wanted to bring forward some of this information, because at the moment on the planet, there's a lot of people that are experts in particular areas. Like I said, in allopathic, we have various different areas of allopathics. We have the GPs, we have the cardiologists, we have the urologists, we have the oncologists, we have the virologists, or the people that study viruses. Now, people that study viruses aren't necessarily clinicians. They just study they may just study that particular entity, in this case being viruses, as opposed to a bacteriologist that studies bacteria, which is someone like, as I've mentioned in the other series, Dr. Edward Batch at the turn of the century. Or his name's appropriately pronounced Dr. Edward Bach. But anyway, so I digress. So coming back to the different aspects of biology and the study of life. So understanding that when we have diseases, which is pathology, and in the body it's pathophysiology, how that disease is functioning in the body, I just thought I'd bring to attention something that's not necessarily expressed within the general focus of the generalized information spread through the planet, which people call the mainstream media. And I was watching a particular, specialist. His specialty is studying viruses, and he was a virologist. And he was mentioning about a particular common virus that's been associated now, which also is talked about in this particular book, which is, I've opened up to the area of the different viruses that cause the common cold. And so if we can see in here, I haven't done a slide, so I thought I'd just show you it. So you have different causes of what we call a common cold in the West, in allopathic medicine. In natural medicine, it's actually more associated with the healing process and eliminating excessive amounts of mucosa that have been produced for whatever, in this case, a pathogen's defense against the pathogen. So the common cold, which I'll read from here, is normally a mild illness, which and lasting for less than a week in general. And it's mainly affected in the areas of the nose and the upper respiratory tract, or even the throat. And so we have a lot of people at the moment that are overly cautious about things associated with sore throats, runny noses, etc. However, the realization here is that it is a cold virus, and the most common is the rhinovirus, but the second most common is the coronavirus, which is stated again in textbooks, microbiology textbooks, which are the smallest entities. Viruses are very, very small. I'll just check that, but they're much smaller. I'm very, very aware they're smaller than bacteria. So being aware that there are already well and truly known many different coronaviruses, and they are now using treatments which they're finding to be ineffective. And one of the reasons may be because, as it states in the microbiology textbook, The nature of a coronavirus is to change. So this is why colds generally occur more frequently in colder weather, but the exact reason for this is unknown. The most likely explanation is that you're generally indoors. So indoors, it's good to get outdoors, to get fresh air, smell the air, have an opened face while you're smelling the air, because the tendency for transmission is when we're in closed environments. And also another factor that I noticed that was important was, it states here in this textbook by Lee and Bishop 2002, I think it is, coronaviruses are also shown to be marked in their antigenetic variation, which means they already knew that they were going to mutate. 2020 by October, in one of the science papers that I have, there was around 168 that they'd already seen, because they're so focused on this now, and about 8 that they were concerned about. And despite this, the immunity to colds viruses does appear to accumulate, since colds occur most frequently in childhood. So it's good for a child to get a cold because they can get more immunity, and progressively less often in adults, because we build up that naturally acquired immunity, which has also been well established in science papers now that they've been studying this particular virus for so long. So I just wanted to bring that up, because when we think about holistic health, we have to think about we do choose in holistic health to think about why, if we aren't healthy, why is the case physically, mentally, and emotionally. And in the case of a cold, and the reason they call it a common cold is because it's easily caught. That doesn't mean people get sick from it, because so many of us that look after ourselves with our immunity and also the way our whole body works with immunity, including the nervous system and the gut, which works very closely together with the immunity, as well as the cardiovascular. We would be able to just do the minimal defense within the upper respiratory, which is the nose cavity, because it is an airway disease. It is not a touch disease like hepatitis A. So, unless you stuck your finger up your nose, you would not get that contact if you touched it, and it doesn't live on surfaces for very long. So with biology, understanding life and how we are holistically, you can overcome so many things, and even come as far as coming down to a simple cold, a common cold that could be a nasty one, because it's been the origin of it may have come from something that wasn't so natural in the first place. Either way, we have a great body that's capable through our life of fighting off things, and at worst case, fighting it off in a quick way if it's well supported. This is where going to see someone professionally can help you with that. So biology, studying of life, even using, if you're interested in studying a little bit of Ayurvedic, which is the Indian perspective of the biology, meaning the study of life, because they have a philosophy that carries through to assist with understanding how your body and your mind and your emotions are. So all of that contributes. At the end of the day, in natural medicine, a cold that person has is a sign to tell them that they're overdoing it. Overdoing it, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or all, you're burning the candle. So slowing down, smelling the flowers, getting some sunlight, being out keeping warm, whether you're outside or inside, keeping your body nice and warm, and wholesome food, etc., helps with the life within your body as well as the environment around you, because you're creating a more harmonious environment to live in, because you're well. And that's what holistic health's all about, wholesome. So hope that was a little bit of sharing. It was a little bit of sharing. Namaste. Love always. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.